Now, you are someone who gives great advice. I've been listening to you, I've watched some of your stuff. What's the best piece of advice that you feel you've ever been given or that you would give?
Woo, these questions. Wow. I have, because I'm like a open-hearted learner, I literally try to learn from everybody. I'm not being deep and whatever and trying to avoid the question, but literally I learn from everyone and I take things and I mold it and I kind of move forward with it. I can't even, to be honest, I can't right now think of my greatest piece of advice that I've received from people because so many things run through my mind. And it's just, I'm blessed enough, honestly, to be around people who are even like my friends and some of my friends who are doing extremely well, who I just, in conversations, they give advice without realizing it. When you're talking to somebody and you're just like, oh my gosh, that's exactly what I needed to hear. How did you know? I don't actually know, to be really honest. But the best advice I would give for this stage in life right now for anybody is that whole thing of walking in purpose and understanding your purpose from being in a place of quiet and understanding that now with all of these readjustments that are happening, because we can look at things in many ways, and I choose to say readjustments, with all the readjustments that are happening, we are in a place where we are able to reimagine our lives. And with that, maybe it's my friend Mabatu, who is incredible. She started a business in the middle of COVID, and she has gotten international funders. I'm talking about like World Bank and all of that. Yeah. From a problem that she had. And she said to me, and she already was so accomplished already. And she said to me, my friend, because we had like a long conversation. She's like, my friend, the thing is right now, the worst that could have happened to us has happened. And everybody's on the same place. We're all at ground zero. So we might as well go ahead and do it all. And when she said it, I'm just like, you know what? You're actually right. And she did this while she was busy oiling her braids and everything. It was a cute conversation. But yeah. So I think that we're all at ground zero together.
Such a great perspective is that in many ways, this has been like a leveler, right? Like everybody, we've all, even the people who have quote unquote been successful, maybe at a business that, provides some service or something that, has blown up but we've all been impacted in some way. Like every single person has in some way been impacted. What for you would you say has been the greatest gift of this time? I know you've talked about reimagining your life, but what do you think has been the greatest gift that this time of forced stillness has given you?
So I, for the longest time, wanted to move from South Africa. It's been in my mind for a long time because I feel like everything serves its time and purpose, and obviously people's lives are different. And my life is just by virtue of the fact that my family is not from South Africa originally, being born in Cuba. And then, my whole life has just been a move about. For all intents and purposes. But South Africa was the country where we spent the longest concentrated time in, definitely, and my formative years and all of that. And it gave me so many opportunities and it literally opened up the world to me. But I knew that my season there was up. And I'd been saying it for years. I'm not joking. Since maybe 2011, I'd been saying it. But then what happened is obviously I was working at China O, so I wasn't in the country. I'd be in different countries for like a month ago, whatever the case was. So it was a bit different. And so being in Ghana, I came with one suitcase, which is a thing for a woman. And I normally overpack. So I was upset with myself. I came with one suitcase and I've just been basically rebuilding and deciding what I will and won't be doing and what I can and can't do. Because, so I think it's just the blessing has been in the doing the thing that I've been praying to do the most, which was to move. So here I am. I mean, I when I say move, I say it so lightly because it's like my dad and everything. It's like when I speak to them, they're like, Nabunya. It's just like, I'm like, I don't know how to answer these questions. It's so weird. But then I have a cousin, that same cousin, I was talking about David, who I was talking to just now. And so Dowdy, literally, we were chatting, throughout this whole time. And he said to me that, oh, well, I moved to America with one suitcase as well. So I'm like, really? He says, yep. And he's like, you're on the right track. And I have another friend. She also moved to the States with one suitcase and ended up basically she won the group she was in won a Grammy. The recording. So I think that there's something to this one suitcase thing. Maybe it's like, don't carry your baggage and your luggage everywhere. So maybe that's what it is. But I think it's been this whole one suitcase move, and not even knowing and realizing that I wasn't wrong about, that. And also it's opened up many opportunities for me, not just within Ghana, but everywhere. Being here has felt like a difference.
So you talked about one suitcase. You talked about growing up, like being a teen and starting in radio and how you were insecure about your looks. And we've talked about, of course, you're in Ghana, which is the home of shea butter, which is fabulosity. Tell me about what is it when do you feel you're most beautiful?
Honestly, today I feel beautiful. I don't know why. I just do. I think it's because you're making me smile from the inside. But yeah, I feel I'm most beautiful. I don't know. And also not in a bad way, but I'm just one of those people who maybe doesn't think about myself in relation to beauty. I don't know. And also for people to feel sad about me, but it's like, I was never the person that people would be like, oh, she's so beautiful, So now even when I hear it or when I take like a great picture or something and I hear it, it takes a lot for me to believe it. It's honestly crazy.
Okay, so it maybe not physical beauty, but what do you love most about yourself?
My eyes. I think they're so big and they tell 1,000 stories. And I love the fact that my hairline stays strong. I feel like my children are going to have the best hairline because I've been in braids since and like different ones, and my hairline stays winning. So I like that. I like my hairline.
My hairline is intact.
Yeah, my hairline's intact. Look, this is a real thing. It's a thing. And because, I never have like my natural hair out just because it's such a mission, regardless of the length and everything, it's such a mission. So my hairline, just the fact that it's sat through wigs, weaves, braids, all of that. And my hairline, it doesn't, you see, it's still here.
I hear you.
And most recently, I've fallen in love with the tone of my skin.
What do you mean by tone of your skin?
I feel like my skin color is perfection. I don't know how to explain it. Like, I love it. Like, when I look at my skin, I love the color that it is. I can't wait for it to be totally clear, but I love the color that it is, I feel like, my skin is just like that, right? It's like right there. It's just like, it's just like, and it's also been because, yeah, but it's also because I think even before Ghana, I think it's also because many people would kind of talk to me about my skin tone. I'm just like, oh, that's so weird. Like, I've never actually noticed it, right? So I think that, that my skin tone.
Okay, so your hairline is a source of pride. What brings you joy?
My hairline. The fact that it's all still here. No, the people in my life and the special person in my life, they bring me joy. My family, people in my life, and just fulfilling purpose.
I love that. And what are you most grateful for right now?
Being alive. There were times I thought I was not going to make it, and no exaggeration, I thought I was not going to make it. And I'm here. Life can do things to you so much that, I remember waking up with moments where I felt so sad that I felt like as though my heart was falling and I was trying to catch it with my hands. But when you put water in your hands and then it just seeps through, I've been in those levels of sadness and nobody's known. Even when I was just like, oh, I really don't care, or if I'd speak badly about my life or that sort of thing, or when I was a nuisance, even to like my prayer partners, I'm just like, I really hate this, it's so much like talking negative about myself. God has still seen fit to bless me. And that means a lot. And he's still seen fit to keep me alive. And that means a lot. And it's made me realize that there's a reason still. I have a long way to go.
You said that, you've had moments, and I think we've all had moments where we're just like in utter despair. We're just, like you said, like that feeling of, I really don't care. If I die today, I don't care. How
it's like whatever,
able to pull yourself out of those feelings, that funk? Like what are some of the things that you've done to help yourself out of that?
So I am very, 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 very intentional about having friends that pray for me. I don't understand people who have people in their lives who will not pray for them, especially within your close circle. I don't get it, because what are you really doing with your life? And because I'm blessed enough to have like many friends. There's a friend of mine in Uganda, Flavia, and she's like basically like a sister to me, and she will randomly send me these prayer voice notes when I've not even told her what's going on. You see what I mean? I'm just like, wow, I make sure to surround myself with good fruit and with people that are going to pray me through things. So that's been what it is. I think what has kept me going is prayer, either my prayers, even though it's just been the prayer with the drop of a tear, a prayer where I'm screaming, like, Lord, where are you? Or prayers of my friends and all of that. So it's definitely been prayer that has brought me out, because I have emotionally been in places I would not want for anybody. And I've experienced like, as much as I've experienced so many blessings, I've also experienced so many like losses that have been humiliating to me, to such a point that I thought that, wow, my greatest fear has been realized, and I've had that more than once in my life. So if it wasn't for God, I'm not, anything. If it wasn't for God, if it wasn't for prayer, I don't know where I'd be. I don't even know where I'd be.
You just said something so profound right there. You said, my greatest fears were realized, or my greatest losses were realized. And then you're still here. Because I think sometimes I don't know, like we think that, the worst happened. And yet the worst happens. And then
we're here.
Life continues, right? You still go on. So that's such an interesting perspective.
I mean, also there's something that I do a lot where I listen to commencement speeches. I'm a sucker for those. And I listen to them more than once, hey? But then again, I watch movies more than once. But then if somebody's watching a movie with me, they'll never know that I watched it before, because I'm just like, oh, that's so amazing. And they'll be like, but you said you watched it before. I said, yeah, but it's so lovely. And I still go through the motions of crying and everything. I'm dramatic. And when I was a kid, I'd read books again. So I don't know what that means. But the one commencement speech that I watch all the time, in an interview that I watch repeatedly, the commencement speech is J.K. Rowling's at Harvard University, pardon me. And she literally says, my greatest fear has been realized. And that was around poverty and her parents being concerned she wouldn't be able to make enough money. She goes, and she had a child that she loved and an old typewriter. She was as poor as it was possible to be, close to being a church mouse in modern day London. And from that became like a relaunch for her now getting into the Harry Potter series and all of that. Because it's like when you get to this place where you've lost, like what then? Like, okay, then now you can do it, because part of the reason we don't pursue or do things is like, oh, what if it doesn't work? And then what if I do this and I lose this? So now when you've lost it and you've been through all of it, it's like, okay, you've lost it. What if you do it and you lose the relationship? If the person walks out on you and you lose the relationship, you do it. You see what I mean? So I think it's that, like, I'm a firm believer, and I've been listening to commencement speeches, the Denzel Washington one, I listened to again at Pennsylvania University. It's the same kind of theme that's been coming through, the J.K. Rowling one, and I'm about to listen to the Oprah one again at Harvard University. When you can tell when I'm in reset, refocus mode, because I feel like it happens at all different times of our lives as we enter different seasons. When I'm listening to those commencement speeches, and I listen to them every time with like a new tear being shed. I promise you, I'm so dramatic. Oh my gosh, can you imagine my children? Oh gosh, for my drama, and nobody will feel sorry for me. They'll be like, "Well, you sowed the seed, boo."
Do you have any like a favorite book? Because you talked about rereading books. Do you have any book that stands out for you that's a favorite book?
The Alchemist.
That's one of my favorites. I love that. I
Yeah.
really love
Yeah.
that. And it's kind of what you were just talking about, that, when you set your intention, when you decide on something, the universe conspires in your favor, but it needs you to decide that this is where you're going. And I think sometimes we're afraid to make the decision, because I heard a beautiful quote from, oh, and I can't remember who said it. And he said he was talking about the fact that, we fear because we can see what we'll lose, but we can't yet see what we might gain. And
oh my gosh, where did you read that?
oh gosh. Oh,
I'm going to tweet that.
I'll look for it and I'll email it to you. But yeah, he was saying how that's the reason we're so afraid, because we're like, okay, I can see that I'll lose this relationship and I'll lose this person, but you don't know what might be. And so I'll send that to you. But because I want to respect your time, so I know you're an incredibly busy woman. I want you to please tell us, where can we find you? Where can people find you, find more information about you, and follow your incredible journey, like really incredible?
So first of all, I really, really mean it. And I'm not just one of those people. If you could speak to my friend Lebo, she'll tell you, if I didn't feel like this conversation was going to be something that was going to change something in my heart, I wouldn't have taken the time. I respect the work that you do. The way that you send emails and you set everything in appointments, you're like, make sure of this and everything. I'm like, wow, this is excellence. I respect your excellence. You interviewed a very good friend of mine, Ndini, as well. And when I saw that, and everything, because Ndini is very much like me, we only vibe like in certain ways. We just are like, we'll even talk about people, be like, we don't want to be part of that world, and we quickly move along, because we've had similar kind of journeys to a degree. I think that you possibly need to hear this. I feel that the time that you're doing this podcast, Sandra, there's a reason why you're doing it. And I feel that I don't know when it's going to be fully realized, but I do believe that there's something in it. I'm not the kind of person like, okay, I'll speak to everybody and stuff because it's my nature. I'm like super friendly, I hope. But my spirit has been able to be open with you in ways that I didn't actually imagine. And none of this has been like a waste of my time. And everybody that you've spoken to, I know that it hasn't been a waste of their time, because in the way that you speak to people, you sow back into their lives. So just for whatever it is, just know that it's coming. I don't know if that's going to make sense, but just know that it's coming. And this is phenomenal. I'm proud of you and all of that. We haven't met, but I'm so proud of you. And you just, man, you're like excellence embodied. Fantastic. I'm just honestly, you're one of the great ones. Just know that. Honestly.
You made me cry. I received that. And I thank you. And it's the reason I knew this conversation, because, I interview a lot of people, and every person has something. Everybody has a story, but there's some people where I really go the extra mile to chase them, because I'm like, we need to have a conversation. And sometimes I don't know why, because a lot of the time I'm just going off of what I see of people on social media, or I'll do some research and be like, oh, this person would be interesting. And there are people who I'll reach out to and they never reach back, and I'm like, okay, and I'll just move on. There was something for me that made me want to have this conversation. And it's so funny that you brought up Ndini, because Ndini was kind of like that for me too, where I didn't know why, but I really wanted to talk to her, and it took a while for us to have a conversation. And here is the funny thing about that conversation that happened with her. We didn't talk about any of the stuff that I had planned, because I was like, oh, we'll talk about women, we'll talk about this, talk about that. Like,
that's not Ndini for you. It never happens that way with her.
An hour and a half, and later, and she's crying, I'm crying, and I'm like, but we didn't talk about what we're supposed to talk about.
Those are the best conversations. Those are the best. And it shows you that people are being open and honest with you. I mean, some of my best conversations are when I've been able to interview people. I've had the privilege of it. And part of the reason why I respect the way that you went after it is that I always tell people that if you're going to go into media, or you're going to go do an interview or TV interview and interview somebody, or you are going to be on radio and you are blessed enough to have that opportunity, if somebody has afforded you their time, respect their time. Don't walk there and say, like, how did you get started? Like, like, don't do that. And if you're interviewing somebody like, who has like a phenomenal kind of career and everything, and say, for example, don't ask them questions about other people. Do you get what I mean? Don't be like, if you're interviewing, say, I don't know, if you're interviewing like Burna Boy.
I'm interviewing you, and I want to know, so what was Beyonce? What did
exactly?
Like?
Don't do that.
What does she smell like?
Because then it's like, go interview her. People don't seem to understand that. Yeah. And it's also, and that's the reason why. And I think that part of the reason why, because I've had challenges also, even with all the work that I've done, like convincing certain people to do interviews, it's because people go into interviews with selfish intentions. Like the interviewer wants to be the celebrity. It's so ridiculous. I have a gross disrespect for that, so I'm one of those people. I respect time, and I respect the creative industry, and I respect people's time. When I interview people, I want them to leave feeling better about themselves. You know what I mean? I want them to be celebrated. I want them to, at the very least, feel a level of human dignity. And I think that that's what's been lost in media, and that's what's been lost in radio. And that's why podcasting has become so important, because people in radio and everything, like everybody's just trying to like give the last punchline and everything, instead of letting somebody leave the studio with a level of dignity. I mean, are you kidding me? No matter who you are, because even you just want to hear what they're saying. And that's the point I'm making. And it's also this thing of when people get over familiar in interviews, and if you know somebody and then like every single story is like, well, remember when we were here that day? Like, don't do that. Like somebody that I've known for quite a while is Banky W. And when I got to interview him, the interview went really great. And, it wasn't like one of those things like, I'm like, oh, Banky, don't do that to people. Yeah. Be respectful. And also, when people are listening to a radio show, people laugh. But when I have to do work with 702 and all of that stuff, and I go in and I do my intro, and it's something I learned from Rachel Maddow, I write my intros. Do you understand? Like, I'm not going to just go there and freestyle it. I'm just like, look, it's good for you. As for me, the opening is going to be excellent, because I know that if I open excellent, it's going to go well. I don't want to find my feet along the way. So this whole thing of preparation and excellence and all of that stuff, it is so important. And so that's why I really like what you're about.
I mean, if we're going to talk about famous people, I think both Oprah and President Barack Obama have this thing where they talk about, Oprah said that the best deterrent to racism and sexism is excellence. And then President Obama said, a quote, and I'm going to butcher it, but he talked about the fact that too few people are invested in being excellent. Like, they're not people who want to be excellent. And I thought, gosh,
like Sandra, it is such a thing. And it actually is like, because it's part of like a new project that I'm working on around excellence. And it is really that we're so underinvested in excellence. Like, really? Yeah. So you actually think that you're important enough that you can go on stage and not do the work? I mean, it's like, it's ridiculous.
Then we watch people who in their lives are excellent. I'm always struck by when I watched Beyonce, the video for her Coachella. She's Beyonce.
Listen,
and it just showed up, done a thing, it would have been okay.
That's the thing, and like that's what the thing is about her. I feel as though, not to make it about her, but I feel as though she embodies excellence. I feel as though even with President Barack Obama, he embodies excellence. I feel as though with Trevor Noah, and we were on the same radio station together and all of this stuff, and he embodies excellence. All of these people, they actually work at it. It's not just like this hype thing. And this is the thing that bothers me the most. I feel as though, like, why do we think that we have any right to be anything less than excellent? I mean, even after Chadwick had passed away, I'm acting like I knew him, but I didn't, But even after he had passed away, I literally then went Googling and to find that YouTube clip from Coach Carter, My Greatest Fear, from the poem, from the Marianne Williamson book. But I wanted to hear it in the context of Coach Carter, because it's also that it's like we sometimes are not excellent because we're afraid. Yeah. You see what I mean? And all of these things. And now with the world resetting, it's like, person, whoever you are, work at this excellence thing. Be an excellent cook, just do it. And excellence means doing it to the best of your ability, and being like, when somebody's on the receiving end of whatever your gift is, what do they get from it, and how do they leave feeling? So if you're going to invite people to your home, be excellent about it, so that regardless of what your home looks like, or whether it's like a $55 million mansion or whatever the case may be. I mean, that's a broad generalization, but that's a really big number. But even if, when they leave, how do they feel? Excellence in you makes people around you leave feeling better, and makes people want to do better.
It's that whole thing about the ships, right? That the ships all rise to the level of the water. So if you're raising the standard, by default, you raise the standard for all the people around you. Gosh, you are truly I was not kidding when I said, like, when I was reading up and preparing, I was just so inspired by, at your age, all the things you've done, all the accomplishments. And then speaking to you, what I hear is that the best is yet to come. Like, I just feel that energy from you that, yes, great, I did that, but I'm pushing for more. And I thank you for that, because talking about excellence, that for me is what came through, that you push, you're going to try, you're not afraid to fail, which I think is what stops so many people, is we're afraid to fail, but you've not been afraid to fail. You're not afraid to try and take the next step. And, even if you're not sure what that might look like. And for that, I thank you, because you inspire. Like I said, you raised the standard for all of us, and you inspired me for sure.
Oh, son. You make me cry.
I truly do. Okay, last thing, I promise, because I'm way over time talking about being excellent.
I don't even know what time it is. Somebody's coming to pick me up. I guess when I hear them, I'll know my time's up.
I better let you go so you can get ready. Okay, so this platform, I called it Ndini because I believe in the power of our words. The Bible talks about the power of our words.
Life and death.
Right. And so I created the platform and called it Ndini because Ndini in my mother tongue means I am. And so I believe whatever you say after that shapes your destiny. So can you finish that sentence for me? I am.
I am African excellence.
That you are. You are amazing. And I'm so grateful, truly grateful for you giving me the time today. And I'm so excited to see what comes next for you, because I know there's so much that is going to come next for you.
No. And I hope that you know that you have a sister in me now. So anything, just reach out. I'm always going to be here to support you.
Thank you so much.
So much, my darling. God bless you. Hey, God bless you. And please, no matter what, don't stop doing this. Keep at it.
From your lips to my ears, I hear you and I put it up to God. Thank you.
Take care, Sandra. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Here's what I'd love to ask you as our community. So I want to know from you, who do you want me to have on the show? Who would you like me to interview? Who are some of the amazing women whose stories you would like for us to share on this platform? If you have any fantastic ideas, and even better, if you can connect me with them, please comment, leave your comment, or DM me and tell me who are some incredible stories I should be sharing on this platform. And the other ask that I have of you is for you to subscribe. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on social media. We're on Instagram and Facebook, and share. Please share. If you find any of our interviews inspiring, please share them with your friends and family.